and welcome to the Weight Loss Show. I am happy to be talking with you about weight loss that's sustainable and to really help you get that transformation you're looking for. You're in the right place. I'm Dr. Julie Wilkening. I'm a chiropractor, certified strength and conditioning specialist, and the owner of the Habit Change Lab. And I'm here talking with some of the best and brightest in health coaching and weight loss. And I just wanted to bring some tips for you to share so you get on track quickly. So this episode that we're talking about today is called Meal Planning and Preparation for Weight Loss. It's so important because it really just kind of brings together what you may be looking for in your kitchen or your space when you just want to start putting together plans and a good sustainable plan that you can do every day to kind of get into action with weight loss. Sometimes just getting down to the nitty-gritty and the meal planning is really helpful for that. So just a real quick disclaimer before we start. The information we provide in the show is not meant to diagnose or treat, and it is not in substitute for professional advice or that you could get. It's just for general purposes. So I'm here with my friend and colleague, Heather Trite, on the topic of meal prepping. Glad to have you with me. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
So when it comes to meal planning and preparation for weight loss, I know it's hard to be consistent with meal planning. That's kind of a big thing. It's easy to feel like you don't have time for meal planning and preparation. It's easy to make excuses. It often, one of those excuses could be it costs too much money to do it on my own. And then some people are just really have a hard time knowing what to do when it comes to meal prepping. So that's why you're really going to want to listen in on the subject today and what my expert Heather from Prevail Health, Wellness, and Life Coaching is here to talk to us about. She has some great tips to share. And we're just going to dive into today how to create your meal plan each week so it fits your family's schedules and what you should include each meal and snacks that you're preparing. So how to make something you want and something that's healthy and nourishing, and how to save time in your meal planning and preparation. So let me just introduce Heather Trite here today. She's a certified at the Health Coach Institute and a PN1 health and nutrition coach. And she is an AFLCA fitness coach. She helps successful and busy women lose the weight that is holding them back so they can win in areas of their life. Heather's clients often come to her to lose weight, but they leave with a whole new zest towards life and a whole new level of energy, confidence, and self-love. You can dive more into what Heather does and her work by going to www.prevailhealthcoach.com. And thank you again for joining me, Heather. How are you today?
I'm great, Julie. And once again, thanks for joining me and asking me to talk about meal planning and prep. As a health coach and as a person who formerly struggled with losing weight, I found that meal planning really is essential when you are trying to lose weight. And so I'm really glad that you're incorporating this into your blog and your show here. So yeah, I definitely have a few tips to share with your watchers. So
awesome. Well, that's great. And you kind of touched into, how you thought it was important on your journey. And I'm kind of curious if that ties into like what got you so passionate about helping people in health.
Oh, it sure did. So I have always been a fairly active person, and I was always involved in sports. I worked out, and then I I had a trauma in my life. I unfortunately lost my daughter after she was born. And so dealing with the grief and the depression, and we were in the hospital with her for about a year, which caused a lot of anxiety that I had never had to deal with before. And I started turning to food to deal with the grief, with the anxiety, with some of the depression that came with it. And then as I was getting healthier and I moved further in the grief process, I realized I had gained weight. And so I started to try and lose that weight. And I was going back and forth between, being able to stay on a very strict diet for a couple of days, and then I would totally binge. And it was just this vicious cycle, which led to, negative self-thoughts about myself, low self-esteem. And I just was really struggling with what was going on with, my whole body and my mind. And because I had always been active and into fitness, I was using that, and I was working out too much and then not taking enough fuel in, which was leading to the binges and stuff. So I started getting interested in the nutrition aspect to figure out what was going on with myself. And I realized that I was doing everything wrong. So it was quite enlightening. It was like a really big eye-opener. And it was just so interesting how our nutrition really is a key component in our weight loss. And I mean, I know that just makes sense, but there's so much information out there that it's almost information overload, and you don't know what to believe. You don't know, if you should try keto, if you should try intermittent fasting, and all this stuff. And so I started looking into it, and I started taking courses about nutrition, and it just kind of progressed into the health coaching and nutrition coaching, because I noticed how it helped me with my anxiety, with overcoming my emotional eating. I ended up losing almost 20 pounds following the guidelines of what I learned in my nutrition coaching. And so it helped me build up my self-esteem. Like, it just really overall changed my life. And that's how I got interested in working with other women who are busy, who lead successful lives, but they're struggling with their losing the weight. They're struggling with what their critter brain is telling them that they can and cannot do. And going back to the basics of how to eat, along with what to eat and what else our body needs to release that weight. So that's where my passion comes from. And then I learned through that that I can just be more consistent when I incorporated the meal planning into my program. And that's basically what I wanted to share today with your listeners, on the tips that make the meal planning easy, so that it can be very time efficient. It doesn't have to take you long if you know some things on how to make it easier, basically. So
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing your story around it. And yeah, it just ties into the basics, but you still do need to know what to do for yourself, right? And and then do it. And part of it is just getting this meal prepping and planning down for yourself. And I'm sure it can help anybody out there. I mean, the busiest to the not so busy. the big families to, the small, maybe just you. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into your first tip if you're ready.
Awesome. So these, what I'm sharing with you is mainly tips on meal planning. There's two different components. So we're going to focus on meal planning today because to get into the meal prepping, for our time frame, we just don't have the time. But I do run weekly meal planning and prepping courses for free, and I also do hour-long or 2-hour-long workshops that delve a little bit more into it. But for today's session, I'm just going to be sharing 3 tips on meal planning and how to make it easier and what to look for. So our first tip is how to actually create a weekly meal plan.
Okay.
So what you want to do, and I have a free template that you can download to make this easier for you. The download, what's the word that I'm looking for? The link is bit.ly, so bit.ly /2K0, capital M, capital V-E. And Dr. Julie will be putting that in the show notes as well, so that you can just link or press on the link and you can get the download. But essentially what you want to do is you want to have a weekly meal planning template where you can sit down with and create your weekly meals, okay? Now, what you can do this as an individual, or you can actually get your family involved within it as well, so that they can help support you on your health and weight loss journey. It also helps teach them about healthy habits to get into. So if you have kids, it helps them become involved by being able to pick what they want to eat. So then, they feel important. You're building up their self-esteem because they feel involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same with your partners. Whether they need to lose weight or not, but just having that support. So they might be a little bit more supportive if they can have some input on what is going into that weekly menu, right? So get their involvement in it. And then when you're actually creating your meal, the weekly meal plan, what you want to do is you want to take a look at your schedule and your family's schedule, okay? You want to take a look at the days that if you're at work where you're going to have back-to-back meetings, if you're going to be on the go a lot and it's not going to be there's not going to be an opportunity to really sit down and eat. So you want to make note of those days, as well as after work. Okay, what's going on? Like, do you have to rush to a meeting? Do you have to go to soccer or take your kids to karate, or any of those after school activities that are going to limit your time to actually cook a meal? So you're going to want to jot down those dates, or make a note of them. And then when you're creating your meal plan, if this is brand new to you, you may just want to choose one meal for each day of the week, okay? If you're a little bit more experienced in meal planning, choose 2 meals. And and then build it up each week, right? So that you're not feeling super overwhelmed and then having it being one of these things that you just keep put off and dreading, because it can be overwhelming. So if you start small and just choose one meal out of the day and then plan it for each day, you can do that for a couple weeks and then add on another meal or add on some snacks. So that is where you want to start with your meal planning, okay?
Awesome.
Let me just see. I'm just going to check my notes here.
I love to talk about, you know, just looking at your calendar, because I feel like if you're starting, you need to look at what will be the blocks of you doing this new thing. You're kind of your holdups, and those are the, you know, the dates that things might be a little different. And so you don't get thrown off, oh, I can't do this, when it's really, you just need to plan, you know, what's coming up, and starting small, like you're saying, like what one meal can we start with? And I think that's great for people starting out, for sure.
Yeah. So by the what is that saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So by looking at what's going on in the week, so let's say you know that you have after school or after work activities. You know, before you might be like, oh, okay, you know what, let's just order a pizza, or let's just go through the drive-through and grab something quick, right?
Yeah.
But by knowing that in advance, you can plan for that night to either have leftovers from the night before. You can have planned that, okay, you're going to grab a meal that you pre-made and froze and have it, pull it out in the morning so it thaws out, and then all you have to do is heat it up and then eat it.
Yeah.
Or you can throw stuff in the crock pot in the morning so that it's ready for when you go, like when you're at home, right?
Yeah.
As for like if you're having a busy work day, you can plan to bring foods that you can eat a little bit more on the go, like hard-boiled eggs, right? Veggie sticks, fruit, trail mix, you know, stuff like that. But if you don't have that planned, then, you know, it's so easy to just say, oh, I'm just going to go and grab something from the cafeteria, or I'm just going to go down to Starbucks and grab a frappuccino that's full of sugar. And, you know, like, so by being prepared and knowing a little bit in advance, you can take some of those roadblocks out, and you can overcome some of those excuses and those limiting beliefs that you know, that will kind of lead you off track easier, right? But if you have a plan, you're like, no, you know what, I've got this, okay? I have a meal pulled out, and all we have to do is heat it up, and then we're out the door.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got friends who have spreadsheets of plans. That is not me. But I find that just, you know, thinking about it just for a moment, because, you know, sometimes that's half the problem, is you just never give it consideration. So just thinking about it. And then, you know, getting better and better, thinking about it earlier and earlier, sometimes, you know, that's helpful for myself.
Yeah, so most of my clients and other coaches, we usually, or I teach that you pick one day to do your meal planning and prep, right? So that includes your grocery shopping, that includes creating your meal. And when you're creating your meal, you're also creating your grocery list, because you're checking to see what you have. And as you get more efficient with this, you become quicker at it, okay?
Yeah.
And then what I do is I just post my menu, my weekly menu, on like someplace where I'll see it. So whether it's on your fridge, whether it's on your counter, you know, take a picture of it so it's on your phone. And then you're seeing it frequently, and that's reinforcing in your mind that that's what's happening for your meals, okay? And then not as well, once you start going and have your meal plans, don't throw them out at the end of the week. Create a folder. So whether or not you're a computer person, create a folder on the computer, or get, a file folder, and put your weekly meal plans in there, so that the weeks that you are really, really busy, like let's say you just came back from holidays and you really don't have time to meal plan because you're doing laundry, you're catching up on everything, you can go in and then pull out one of your old meal plans and say, here we go, this is what we're doing this week, right? And so then you don't even have to sit there and plan it out, because it's already been planned. You just have to do the grocery shopping, which you're going to have to do anyways.
Yeah.
And then, and then have a couple hours to cook, right? And I'm going to give you a couple tips on how you can make that easier as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I don't know if this will bring you into your next tip, but what I think about of a block for somebody who hasn't been meal planning is there's so many diets maybe they want to, they think they should, or they heard about trying, and what is the foods that they should plan, and so what meals should they choose? They might get stuck right there and getting stuck.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, planning your meals can actually be quite overwhelming for some people, because, like, going back to what I said earlier, there's so much information out there that it can be information overload. So you don't know whether or not you should try keto, intermittent fasting, paleo. The nice thing about meal planning is that you can be following any diet that you choose. I don't particularly I don't follow a particular diet, but that's not saying that somebody else can't. What works for me might not work for somebody else. So you might have to play around with what works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What works for your body and the foods that your body gets energy from versus the foods that doesn't, right? And if your body doesn't get the energy, and if it's not agreeing with your body and your digestive system, it's going to have to work that much harder, and then you're not going to be able to lose the weight because you're putting your body into that state of stress. So, but I do have some I guess advice or tips on what you can do to make this easier. So for the way I do it is I follow the magic plate, is what I call it. And what the magic plate is that you have your plate and you divide it into sections. So 1/2 of your plate is your leafy green vegetables, your fibrous vegetables, and vegetables following the color of the rainbow. By doing the color of the rainbow, you're getting different nutrients that your body needs versus just having one particular color of vegetables. So, so 1/2 of your plate is full of vegetables. Okay, and then you want 1/3 of your plate as protein. Okay, so whether or not that's plant-based protein or animal-based protein, it's just like protein. That's what you need. Okay, and then 1/3 of it is that you're going to want a bit of your starchy carbohydrates. Okay, now this might be one of those hang-ups for people that are on keto, but I don't know enough about keto to comment on that. But the way I follow it is that you have 1/3 of your plate with starchy carbohydrates, okay? And then you want a tiny bit of healthy fats mixed in. So whether or not you're using the healthy fats to cook with, like if you're cooking your protein, and then, or if you have like a handful of nuts or something, but you do want some healthy fats on that plate, okay? So with that concept in mind, what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to create your meals with, okay, so what are my vegetables that I'm going to be eating for that meal? What's my protein for that meal? What's my starchy fat? And then what's my starchy carbs, and what's my healthy fats? And you might be like, oh my God, like you've already lost me, right? And so the easiest that I do is I actually make a spreadsheet of each category, okay? And I just keep adding to that category. And what I put in those, each category is the foods that I like or the foods that I want to try, okay? We are not putting the foods that we don't like, that we know that we don't like, and that we are not willing to try. Some people have texture issues. Some people don't like, you know, really, really bitter foods. So if you're not gonna like the food, like if you know you don't like the food, then don't add it to your list, because then you're not gonna follow that list. You're not gonna cook that, and you're not gonna eat it, right? So just leave it off. And then when you're sitting down to make your meal plan, take that spreadsheet and say, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to make. Okay. Or you can go on Pinterest and say, okay, I want a chicken dish for this meal plan. How can I make chicken that, like, you know? So like I said, at first it might be a little bit more time involvement, but as you get going, you're keeping your recipes that you like. You have your spreadsheet that you can just quickly glance and, you know, okay, this is what I'm going to do for this meal. Okay. And that just will help speed things along once you get more familiar with your meal planning. Now, you also want to kind of keep that magic plate idea for your snacks as well. Okay. And the reason why I say you want to do that for your snacks as well is because your protein is going to keep you fuller longer. So you're not going to be needing to eat as frequently if you're fuller, right? Your healthy fats make things taste good, but it also slows down your food going through your digestive system. So your digestive system is going to pull out more of those nutrients. And so if you're following that magic plate idea, even in your snacks, your body is going to get more of the nutrients that it needs to function optimally. And then you'll start seeing results in how you see things. Like, I know I used to walk around with this huge brain fog. Like I just I wouldn't be able to think clearly. I was always tired. And when you start following that and getting your body's getting the proper nutrients, you start sleeping better. You start getting that, like, energized. That brain fog lifts. It leads to a whole bunch of results that end up putting your body being less that's like stressed, and then you'll start being able to release some of that weight. So creating those spreadsheets will really, really help you out in creating your meal plans. So
that download that you gave us, was that something kind of like that, or?
So the download was that I'm giving you it's not the spreadsheet. The download is just the template for the actual meal, like the weekly meal planning. So
awesome.
You could just print it off, and then it's got like the days of the week, the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you can meal prep for every meal, including breakfast. Some people don't, they're like, breakfast? And I'm like, yeah, you can totally meal plan for breakfast. And so yeah,
you need your brain in the morning too.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the most important meals of the day, right? So yeah. But yeah, start your own spreadsheet, you know, and just keep adding to it. And this is where you can also get your family involved to find out what their likes or dislikes are, what they would like to see on it. So yeah.
Awesome. So your last tip, it sounds like you have ideas about choosing meals that have similar ingredients. Is that correct?
Yes. So this is going to be one of your time savers for meal prepping, but it comes in during the meal planning. So One of the things that you want to be looking at when creating your meal plans, especially if you have weeks that are going to be busier, you're going to want to look at cooking things that are similar, okay? And I'm going to give you an example so that you can understand a bit more about what I'm saying. So I'm going to use chicken for an example, okay? So when you're meal planning, you can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to have chicken as my protein for 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 meals in that week, okay? So whether it's you're going to have some chicken tacos, you're going to have chicken salad, if you're going to make some soup with some chicken, or if you're just going to eat chicken breasts, you know, you have a variety of different types of meals that you can make with just chicken. So what I do is I will cook, you know, about 12 chicken breasts all at once. Yeah. And I cook mine in my Instant Pot, and it literally takes 12 to 15 minutes to cook like chicken breasts. And they come out so tender and moist. So, you know, you can be adding your spices to it. You want to stay away from the sauces because those are extra unwanted calories hidden in them. Use more of your spices to bring out the flavor of foods. But when you're cooking 12 pieces of chicken at once, you can say, okay, I'm going to have a chicken breast with rice and some vegetables, and so that's one meal. So then another meal will be, I'm going to cut up some chicken breast and put it on a salad, so that's another meal. And then from that same batch, I'm going to cut up and add some extra spices to it when I reheat it, and have that for chicken tacos, right? So right there, you have 3 or 4 different meals using one item of food, right? Now, the rest of those chicken that you've cooked up, you can cool them down, and then you can decide to freeze them. You can freeze them as whole chicken breasts, packaged individually, or if you're making rice and vegetables, you can make extra and package it as meals so that you can grab and go and like freeze and then grab and go later, right? I also slice up and make individual portions of chicken for stir fries, so that all I have to do is on one of those busy nights is come home, grab my bag of frozen vegetables that I buy from Kirkland. It's actually a stir fry medley, I think it's called, and throw that on the oven and cook that up, add my spices, and then add my chicken, you know, and then boom, 10, 15 minutes later, and there's a nice healthy meal for you. Yeah. So by cooking in larger quantities, you can use some for the meals that you're planning that week, and then you can also freeze some for those days that you're busy. Another example is like if you're cooking a roast or, you know, even a turkey, use some for that week, and then save a portion for that you're going to meal prep and cut up and freeze, and then label and put it into the freezer for future use. So those are some of the ways. And in my meal prepping course and workshops, we go a little bit more into like the batch cooking, the sheet cooking, storage times, and labeling and all that kind of stuff. But this is just a few tips to where you can get started, and where some people find the overwhelm is too much to even start. So yeah, definitely.
And you can see how you know, how all of this type of planning using the same ingredient and just keeping it simple, like you just talked about with the stir fry, will save you from getting that pizza
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is pretty clear that, a habit of pizza versus a habit of this chicken and vegetables is really going to help with not only weight loss. I mean, that's definitely a positive symptom that everybody's looking for, but also just turning your health around, feeling better, feeling brighter, more clear-headed. So I brought that up as well. Yeah, just great. So thank you so much. And definitely be sure you get that link so you can get that template for your meal planning. And, we just went over a few great tips that I think can help a lot of people get started. I thank you so much. So we start off with, starting off small with your meal planning and scheduling it in, looking at your schedule ahead of time and just seeing, does your family have things going on? Do you have events coming up? And then, kind of what you're going to be doing with your meal planning around those times. And it's really about, making sure you're planning ahead and you're just kind of getting in the habit of that so you are successful in this. So I thought that was great. And starting off small, so maybe sticking with one meal that you're focusing on through the week until you get that down and then maybe add another. You even got into the magic plate where you talked about the vegetables that we should have and the portions of everything. And I love that. I even love that you brought up the snack would be similar. So you're not just throwing everything out when a lot of people stick to snacks throughout the day. So it's really nice that you talked about kind of keeping that healthy as well. And that could be part of your meal planning. And then we ended off talking about how we can keep it simple by incorporating the same ingredients and using them throughout several meals, which is just wonderful. You can just get things done in mass quantities so you can have it throughout the week, and it just really makes it easier on yourself.
Well, and then you're also not getting bored of what you're eating, right? Because sometimes when you're on a weight loss journey, you end up eating the same thing over and over and over again. But this way, you might be having the same protein, but you're having it in multiple different ways. And so your body's not getting bored with it. Your mind's not getting bored with it. You can actually make it like more of an adventure and saying, okay, well, how can I make this different and make it exciting so that my taste buds are saying, yes, give me more versus, okay, let's go out and eat now, right? So like you can have fun with it. So for sure.
Great for foodies. And I find that when I do that, maybe I'll start the chicken or whatever meat off bland. And then the next time I use it, maybe I'm going to add more spice. So maybe that will be the dish for my kids, but it is something that I will use. They're not into all the spice that I love. And I'm sure you go a lot more into spicing things up and flavors, because if you're a foodie and you're addicted to foods in that way, I mean, that's such a wonderful part of your food to incorporate. I'm sure you go over that with all your clients. So what I wanted to dive into real quick before we wrap up, thank you again for all these tips, is Heather is going to be running a free 7-day Healthy Habits Challenge. Is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Okay, October 6th, it sounds like. And this is a challenge that's usually $97, but she's offering it to listeners today for free. So grab the link that we're going to be putting here, and I'm just going to say it as well. So I think you can go to www.prevailhealthcoach.com too to get on.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing. I do have other links, but I mean, for your listeners, if you just visit prevailhealthcoach.com, I'll have a pop-up box that you can register for it. And then the other links you can throw down into the show comments for them to sign up. But the easiest one to say would be the prevailhealthcoach.com. So
okay, sounds good. All right, so should I give the other link or just?
No, just throw that into the show notes, and this way, because it's got all those letters and stuff like that. This way, prevailhealthcoach.com, and you can just sign up for it right there. And
So, and Heather's going to be there with you, walking through these 7-day healthy habits, this challenge. It's perfect for you if you're scared about what will happen to your life if you don't lose that extra weight. So you're kind of in a paralysis about it and just a fear about it. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you feel like a failure because nothing you have tried seems to last long term. You're ready to just make this happen. Maybe if you feel like your weight is holding you back and stopping you from going after what you want, then this is the time to just set some time aside and get focused with Heather. And you can be sure to walk away with real practical habits that you can incorporate into your day, strategies to simplify a healthier lifestyle so you can consistently exercise and eat better. And you'll walk away with renewed confidence that you can achieve your goals. So it's well worth a checkup and a check-in with Heather. And if you're looking for solutions to weight loss, she's committed to you and she's ready to help you. So thank you so much, Heather. And any last words to the audience or for support, or let us know what you're thinking?
You know what, so just a little bit about the Healthy Habits Challenge. Yes. Basically, this is a kickstart to your health journey. So if you're, if you've been thinking about it, if you've been struggling with it, you know what, this is a great week to get some information on the simple things that you can do that will help you on your healthy health journey. So it helps you kickstart your journey. And the nice thing about it, and the nice thing about what my clients really enjoyed is the support. All my programs, whether it's individual or the group coaching or my free courses and workshops, you have so much support built into it. You have so much, what do I want to say, extra information that you get with each of the programs. You're surrounded by community of other women that are in the same boat, and so we lean on each other to support each other through the hard times, through our successes, and we ask for help in so many other areas of our lives, but for some reason a lot of people don't want to ask for help for weight loss. They think that they can do it on their own, but then it becomes too overwhelming and it becomes really, really hard when you don't have that support system. And having a coach allows you to learn different strategies to overcome your personal roadblocks, your personal obstacles. And for my coaching courses, we go into how to eat. And so it's not necessarily what you're eating, it's how you're eating as well. It's the person that you are on your journey and the person that you want to become. And then finding that support system, like dealing with your inner critic and that negative self-talk, and celebrating those small successes. That is huge in keeping you motivated and realizing that you can do this. It might take a long time, it might take, it's a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think everybody wants it to be a sprint, but then it doesn't last. We basically are relearning how to do everything. But this time we're relearning how to do it so that it's sustainable in your life and it will give you long-term results. So that's a little bit about what's in my programs. But like I said, if you're interested, check out the week-long Healthy Habits one. You'll get to know me. You'll get to know my coaching style. You'll get to know the content, and you'll also have the support of the community as well. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. I could tell that you are, very helpful and there for your clients. So it's really nice to know. So, whether it's meal prepping or just, wanting to get to the bottom of it and start losing some weight, no matter what the modality or way you go about it, you may want to give Heather try it a check-in and just jump into this free program. It's a great time to see, what you can do. So again, you can go to prevailhealthcoach.com to get that 7-day free Healthy Habits Challenge, and she will help you along. So again, thank you so much for being here with me and talking, and I look forward to talking with you more about weight loss and all things healthy and good. So thanks for being with me.
Thanks, Julie, and to all the listeners and watchers out there, I wish you luck on your journey. If you do want some help, whether it's with meal planning and prepping or some coaching, I would love to talk with you. You can also send me a message on through prevailhealthcoach.com or on my Facebook page, Prevail Health Wellness and Life Coaching. And join my Facebook group. There's all different ways that you can connect with me, but I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching today.
Wonderful. All right, bye.
Bye.